All right, we're back. No, we're not back. We're doing these back to back to back, but we're going to make them short. All right, everyone. We have a professional toy inventor here, toy and game inventor Sara. She's been doing this for a while. She's been in the industry. She's worked for Fisher Price. Is that correct? You
Correct.
okay? So you've been in you've been in the industry for a while, so you know what's going on. All right, you've got a great idea. Maybe you have a bunch of ideas. How do you attend a trade show? Do you buy a booth and say, here's all my ideas for everybody to see? Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
That's probably not the best idea if you'd actually like to keep ownership of that idea and be the first one to market. I mean, some people have a product that they plan to bring to market or they're in the process of bringing to market. And you can go to trade shows like New York Toy Fair or Chicago Toy and Game Fair. And there are sections that have like a new inventor or like a new manufacturer section. And that's a great way to introduce your product to the market for a lower rate than some of the more established, bigger companies.
Okay.
However, that's not the place to go and pitch your product to people walking by. That is a place where you already have something, you're making it, and you want to try to get some bigger movement on it. If you do want to go and if you have a toy or game idea and you want to pitch it, you can go to these conventions and then schedule private meetings with these companies and then share your concept with them behind closed doors with paperwork that you've signed at a table.
Okay. Because you want to keep it somewhat private. I mean, that seems logical, I think. And you don't want to show all your concepts to anybody just walking by. All right. So you're going to a trade show and you're going to make appointments with those potential clients. All right. You call ahead. You make sure your particular idea is a good fit. That's a good thing to do. And you just visit them and show. How many do you bring? Do you bring like 20, 30? No? Yes? Do you drown them with ideas?
Different people have different perspectives regarding quantity. We try to have at least 3 things if we're going to go into a meeting, although we do now have relationships where we might have one item that we think is a perfect fit for a certain company, and then we can call them up and do a Skype or meet with them and share it. But typically, if we're scheduling a bunch of meetings, we try to have 3 things that are a good fit. And we also, sometimes it can be a prototype, sometimes it's a video sizzle, sometimes it can be a one sheet, depending on what it is. A lot of companies are moving more towards, especially in the toy and game area, which is what I know, moving towards asking for videos, like a video sizzle, essentially.
Okay. How important is to have that feedback, to watch their expression? Because some people are looking for a middleman. They're looking for a licensing agent. They're looking for someone to do the hard work. Is that a good idea?
We do work with some companies where we just kind of send the video sizzle and supporting documents off into the ether of the internet, and then we get like an email back if there's interest or not. And, that's fine, and that's the way some companies work. Our preferred method is sitting down face-to-face or even a Skype and being able to see the reaction from the person on the other end, who's usually the inventor relations representative, because you can see if they laugh, if they look like delighted and surprised at the place where you want them to be, and then you can have a conversation. Often, if you're submitting something through an online portal or sending something off, you just get a 1-sentence response back. Like, this wasn't a right fit. Thanks so much. Think of us in the future. And then, you don't really know why. Maybe there's something similar. Maybe it doesn't have enough wow. But you really need that feedback to help you improve as an inventor.
Because once you make an improvement, can you go back and show it again if they give you some type of tips?
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely. We have done that where maybe there wasn't a big enough payoff, like a big enough feature, or some of the bigger companies, bigger toy companies want something that's TV advertisable, and then they look for like, what's that big moment on TV? There needs to be like some big thing, like a big movement or surprise or payoff. And sometimes we'll have something that's like almost there, and then they'll give us that feedback, and maybe we'll go and we'll push it and then show it again. Or they might even say, we don't have a slot for it right now, but we like it. Can you show it to us again in 6 months?
Okay. So sometimes it's not really the quantity, it's the quality, finding the right fit, getting the feedback. Because sometimes, and I've said this, come up with a lot of ideas, but maybe you don't show all those ideas, but you want to be somewhat focused. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, We just licensed a game to a company where we only pitched them 2 things, and they licensed one of them. So that's pretty good. We've also had meetings where I think the most we've ever shared a meeting was 11, which is a lot for us. We normally do not show that many. But some of them were a little simpler, and it was a slightly different category. Yeah, I mean, I think the strategy is different for different people. Someone once told me they would go in with like 100 concepts, and it's a very successful inventor. So I don't, everyone just has a different way of doing things.
Okay. How important is intellectual?
I mean, 100 seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot. How important is, do you patent everything? Maybe copyright if you're in games. Is that a good idea? Because it's pretty affordable to do that. Or is there just some trust?
So I think you have to work with reputable companies. The larger toy and game companies have dedicated people whose jobs it is just to interface with inventors. So they're there to essentially like keep your concept protected. Okay. You're not sitting and showing your idea to every designer at Mattel, or you're sharing it with their inventor relations team, and they are wonderful, and it's their job to kind of like help you get your product sold internally. So yeah, you share it with them. You don't need to, I mean, the things that I do are not typically super complex, like patentable items. We do have a few things. We work with an electronic engineering partner, and we do have some high-tech items. And we have pitched things in the past that we believe are patentable. And we'll say to them, we believe it's patentable. Here's the research on why. Here's our mechanism for doing this. But we're not going to go ahead and spend the time and money patenting it unless there's a taker.
All right.
That might not be the philosophy for other people, but we just don't have the time and energy and resources to patent every single thing that we come up with.
What about trademarks? Because it sounds like you've got some very clever names. How important are trademarks?
So trademarks are important, especially with certain things. We have trademarked the names of all of our games as well as our company. It's very hard to copyright a game.
Okay. There's
very few games that are that have a copyright, but trademarking the name is something you can do.
All right, Sara, great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you very, very, very much for helping us. And
thank you.
You have wonderful ideas, and you're truly a pro. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And our director of marketing wants to say hi as well. This is our director of marketing.
I love it. Thank you.